Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Minutes of Inspiration with Calandra. Happy Saturday. How's it going today? I hope that you guys are having a good day and that your Saturday finds you well. So, today's episode is going to be on book four. It's going to be the review of New Day Diva series, book four. And this book is titled Trying to Stay Saved. Trying to Stay Saved. So I have been reading this series for a while now. I have one more book left, and it's been a while. I think I've been doing the book reviews like once a month. So this is June. So happy June. So I want to go ahead and come on today and bring you guys a book review for Trying to Stay Saved, book four. So if you have been following along on the podcast with the book series, this is part three of the New Day Diva series. So I have a lot today. I have a lot. Hopefully, I can get through all of this. So what I'm going to do is go through the reader's group guide questions, and it's 12 of them. So I'm going to go through those from the book and just read those and then answer the questions so that I can give you guys an idea of what the book Trying to Stay Safe was like. So, yes, I'm excited to do that. And then yesterday, out of nowhere, I was working and all of a sudden, a poem came to mind. I have been writing since I was a kid. So it's been a while. I've been writing for many, many years. As you know, or if you're new and you don't know, I'm the author of my first book. It is Fate Walk to Healing. It's a devotional that you can purchase on Amazon. But I have been writing letters, I have been writing poems, I have been writing devotionals, I have been just writing, my thoughts, brain dumps, like whatever you name it, I have been writing. So, yeah, so it's not unusual for me to have a poem, but the poem just flowed so freely from my thought process yesterday. So I wanted to come on and share that poem with you guys today. So I'm going to start off today before I get into the book series and share with you guys the poem that I wrote yesterday, just out of the thin air. The words just came to me. So I'm going to go ahead and share the poem with you guys, and then I will go ahead and get into the book, Trying to Stay Safe, and go through the reader's group guide questions. Before I get into the poem, also, I just want to let you know if you are not following me on YouTube, please go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is Minutes of Inspiration with Calandra. And last Saturday, I went live. Yes, I went live last Saturday, just out of the blue. If you listen to the last episode from the podcast, I did, mention going live, but I did not know I was going to go live. It was just last Saturday, I woke up and I was in the spirits to go live. So if you don't want to miss anything from the Minutes of Inspiration podcast, please go ahead and go to the YouTube channel and subscribe so that you won't miss any time that I go live or that I share a short or anything like that. If you want to stay connected, other than audio, then please go ahead and go to the Minutes of Inspiration with Calandra YouTube channel and subscribe. So yes, I went live. One of my listeners here that listens to the podcast faithfully asked me if I would go live. And I said, yeah, I wasn't sure when I was going to go live. I have been live on YouTube before, but it is, every blue moon. I don't really have a live schedule. It just depends on how I feel. So that's why I encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you won't miss when I do decide to go live. But yes, I went live last Saturday with them and it was nice. People actually joined. I am new here. I'm still building my community. So sometimes I go live, no one's on the live, or maybe one person may pop on the live, but people always watch the replay. People always watch the replay. But last Saturday, people was actually on the live, and it felt good. We were just chatting, no, deep subject or anything like that. It was just conversation, just conversation. And I enjoyed it. So if you want to just chit chat with me and, freely about whatever, then please join the YouTube channel so that you won't miss any of the lives. And whenever I go live, we can chat. So, yes, I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention because last Saturday, the live was great. So, thank you to my subscriber who requested for me to go live. I appreciate you. It was a good time on live last Saturday. So yes, I will be doing that again. So please go ahead and subscribe to the Minutes of Inspiration with Calandra YouTube channel so that you won't miss out on that fun. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read you guys the poem that I wrote yesterday. And yeah, I want to share it with you guys. I wrote it and I was like, I'm going to share this with my podcast family. So here is the poem from yesterday. It is titled, I Am a Work of Art, The Light Within. The stairs, the stairs, the stairs. Ooh, child. They become much when I enter into any room. You see, the stairs for a very long time made me feel intimidated and inadequate until I awaken. Now that I'm awake, I see the inward and outward beauty that they see. You see, growing up as a child, they tried to snuff my light out. I was belittled and emotionally abused and said to be nothing, but that was a lie. God's light has always shined bright through me, and that was what angered them the most. You see, there is no light brighter than the light of the world, and that is what you see within me when you stare at me. All right. All right. I had to give it snaps because I am a poetry girl. I love going to poetry events. I love the open mic shows. So yes, that is something that I am into. I was actually at an open mic like 2 weeks ago with one of my friends, and we had a good time. So yes, but again, I have not wrote a poem in a while. So I was so grateful that yesterday, out of nowhere, the words just came over me. And I was like, I'm feeling something. Let me get my pen and paper. I am old fashioned. I love a good pen and paper. So I got my pen and paper. And as the words were flowing, I was writing. And this is what came to mind. So I am pleased with it and I wanted to share it with you guys as well. So it is titled again, I Am a Work of Art, The Light Within. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that poem. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Let me know in the comments if you also write poetry or if you are just a writer in general. Chat with me in the comments so I can know on the YouTube channel, or you can also chat with me in the comments on Spotify. So yes, leave comments. Let me know what you thought about the poem and let me know if you write, and what type of writing do you do? Chit chat with me and let me know. So yes, that is the poem that I wrote on yesterday. And I am so, so happy to share that with you guys. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get into the book review. Today's episode is What Are You Reading? What are you reading? So I'm going to go ahead and get into the book review. And it is, again, Trying to Stay Saved. Trying to Stay Saved. It is a book by Enjoy. And it is a good series. So check the series out. I purchased my books on Amazon. So yes, check the books out. You will love this book series. It is a Christian series, a faith series, but it is about a lot of topics of things that happen in real life. So you will be able to relate to one of the characters within the book, if not several of them. So yes, please check out Enjoy book series. Again, I purchased mine on Amazon. So I'm going to go ahead and read over the reader's group guide questions. I think that will be the easiest way for me to give you guys a review. Again, if you have been listening to me for some time, but maybe you missed over the last book reviews, go ahead and go back and check those out because that'll kind of catch you up to where I am with this book because this is book 4. But it's series, so the characters are still, in all of the books, but it's just like different things that they're going through, different scenarios, different, life advantages and disadvantages. So, yes. So I'm going to start with question number 1. It says, do you agree that once the New Day Temple of Faith pastor suspected domestic abuse between Paige and Blake, that they should have been counseled separately? So Paige and Blake is a couple here that started off great, and then later on there was some physical abuse that started happening, and it started off as a push or a shove, or something as far as like squeezing the hand really hard. It started off with small things, but abuse is abuse. If you are dealing with any type of abuse, I would recommend you walk away from that because abuse is abuse and it just gets worse as time goes by. And that's what happened in this situation. The abuse got worse, and I am actually reading book 5 now, and Paige is having to walk away from the situation. But to answer the question, I do believe that they should have been counseled separately because, sometimes when they're counseled together, maybe there's something that Paige doesn't feel comfortable saying in front of her husband, in front of her abuser. There are times that you are getting abused and you know that you guys need help. Blake understood that he needed help as well, but Paige couldn't freely speak. She couldn't freely tell the counselor or the pastor because in this occasion it was the pastor that was counseling them. She couldn't truly tell the pastor everything that was going on with Blake sitting beside her. So even though I think that couples counseling is great together sometimes, I also think that it's good to have separate sessions so she could have fully been able to freely tell the pastor what was going on with her marriage with the domestic abuse. So, yes, I believe that they should have been counseled separately. That was question number 1. So, question number 2, do you feel Uriah had a right to be angry with Bethany's deception, considering he deceived her as well? So Uriah and Bethany were the couple. They were married. Bethany had an affair. She got pregnant, by someone else. Um, Her husband, of course, didn't know at the time, but her husband also was in an accident. He was a truck driver. He was in an accident and he faked his death. So he wasn't trying to fake his death. Someone actually, he had picked up a hitchhiker, and that person actually died on in the scene. And when the police and everyone came around, the body was unrecognizable. So they thought that it was Uriah. So they, said that he pronounced him dead or whatever. But we found out later that he wasn't dead, that he had picked someone else up and someone else was in the truck with him. And that was the person who died. And Uriah actually, lived. But since he was already said to be dead, since they already thought that that was him, that the body was his, he went ahead and went with the lie to, receive money, insurance money, and things like that. So that situation, he also deceived her. He deceived Bethany, but they both deceived each other. So the question was, do you feel Uriah had a right to be angry with Bethany's deception, considering he deceived her as well? They both deceived each other, in my opinion. So, I mean, I can't say neither one of them had a right to be angry because it was deception on both parts with, their story. So, it was deception on both parts. Number 3, it says Nita seems to always be around to witness incidents concerning Paige and Blake. Do you feel that was God positioning her, or was it merely accidental that she was in the right place at the right time? I think God was definitely positioning her. Because I feel like sometimes when we go through things, God will send someone who has been through that situation to be of help to you. I believe that the person who has been through something is the greatest teacher to help you out of something. And Nita was someone that was within the church with Paige, and they weren't really friends, but Nita had also been abused. So every time Paige, was going through things, Nita would always pop up. She would always be there. And I think she was like a light, since she had been through something, domestic violence as well. I think she was the right person to be around Paige to be able to, speak to her and to let her know, what to do and help her in that situation because she had experienced it herself. So I definitely believe that Nita was positioned by God to be at the right place at the right time to help Paige. Number 4, Paige didn't want to give up on her marriage, but neither did she want to stay in a situation that was harmful. Do you believe she made the right decision? Now, this, I believe abuse is abuse and you should walk away from abuse. I believe it gets worse over time, whether that's mentally abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. Abuse is abuse, and I just don't believe that it gets better. I know that there's nothing that God can't do. I'm not saying it can't get better, but I just feel like it's too risky to stay and find out. So I believe that, she should have walked away. And in the beginning, she did not walk away. Within this book, trying to stay saved, she stayed. But I am reading book 5 and not trying to spoil it, but she is going to walk away. So sometimes I believe you have to get the courage to walk away. Even though you know in your heart that you need to get away and you need to get out of the situation, I believe sometimes it takes people time to build up the strength, to build up the courage to make that decision. So being aware is the number one thing that you need to get to where you need to be aware, to understand that you need to walk away. But I do believe it takes time. But I do know that she made the right decision in the end, although she didn't at first. She wanted to work through her marriage. And I don't think nothing is wrong with that either. You want your marriage to last. But if it's physical abuse, or I say any kind of abuse, I feel like it's best to walk away. Number 5, why do you believe Mother Duran had such a difficult time hearing clearly from God? Mother Duran she is Uriah and Bethany's family. She is Bethany's sister. I feel like Mother Duran wanted to help so many people. She wanted to just be of help. Um, and she had, her hands in a lot of different areas. She was helping with a singles ministry, and then she went to help with her sister. And, she was just a helpful person. And because she had her hands in so many things, I felt like she was on go a lot. And when you're on go mentally and physically, I feel like she didn't have time to hear from God fully because she was always doing, she was always going. She was go, 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 busy, busy, busy. And even though she was a woman of faith and a woman of God and she wanted to help, she never had that downtime. So I believe because she was so busy trying to do so many things that she didn't have the quiet moments that she needed to fully hear from God. Number 6, how did you feel about the fact that Regine, Tamara's daughter, hadn't committed suicide after all, that it was faulty brakes that had caused her car to crash? So, back from the last book series, book 2, Regine is Tamara's daughter, and Tamara is good friends with Paige. Tamara was molested by her brother as a child, and she got pregnant, and she had a daughter named Regine. And Tamara was never really close with Regine because of how Regine was conceived. In book 3, um, it was written that it was made to believe that Regine committed suicide, but it was just faulty brakes on her car. And we find that out in this book, Trying to Stay Safe, book 4. But at first, they thought that it was just, her trying to end her life. But I feel relieved that, it wasn't that. I feel, it's sad either way that she lost her life, but I feel relieved that it wasn't her committing suicide, but it was just the fact that her brakes were faulty. But either way, it was a sad situation. I felt really sad for Regine because she never really had a fair chance. She was born in, pain. Being the daughter of, a molested woman that was molested by her brother. She had just pain, throughout her life. So even though her grandmother was good to her and her grandmother raised her like her own daughter, I just felt like Regine she grew up with so much pain. But I was pleased to know that she did not commit suicide, that it was actually, the brakes on her car that actually caused the crash. But either way, it was a sad situation. But yes, that was what happened with Regine. So I'm on number 7. So I'm almost through. I'm getting through this. This is a little bit of a longer episode, but that is okay. This book is very, very interesting. So hopefully, by me reading these Reader's Guide questions and going through it with you guys, it will encourage you to want to purchase her book or want to check it out at the library or, wherever you get your books. So, book number 7, it says, do you find the New Day Diva series to be entertaining, both, or neither? And I find it to be very entertaining, but also very ministering. So I will say both. It's both. It's ministry and it's entertainment. It's ministry because you learn about the faith of God, you learn about God, you learn about people walking with God, people believing God. It's also entertaining because these are like real life situations. This is something, again, you can compare yourself to any one of these characters or several. So, and then it's life things, it's things that we actually go through in everyday life. So I'll say it's both. It's entertaining and ministering. Number 8, have you realized up until this point that the gender of the pastor of New Day Temple of Faith has never been revealed? What sex do you think the pastor is, and does it matter? So I thought that the pastor was a male on automatic. We automatically think pastors to be men. But in today's time, pastors can be male or female. So I honestly think now that the pastor is a woman. Actually, I know because I am, again, spoiler alert, but I am reading book 5, so which is the last book. So I know now that the pastor is a lady. But from all of the books, I just automatically assumed that the pastor was a man. Mm, I don't really think it matters if it's a male or a female. As long as the word of God is taught, to me, I don't think that it matters if it's a male or a female as far as the pastor. Number 9, at what point did you consider Blake and Paige relationship abusive? I consider Paige and Blake's relationship abusive from day one. From the small things that he would do, from the shoves, from the squeezing of her hands to where he would bruise it. Those were the starting points for me to see that this man is abusive, from the tiny things. And it just worked up until he became, really, really dramatically abusive. But I'll say from the starting points, abuse is abuse. And even in the beginning, the simple things, the slap, the push, that's abuse. And staying around just makes that situation worse. I got 3 more. So, number 10, it says, quite a bit of turmoil and issues transpired between Bethany and Uriah. Do you think God had a plan in everything that took place? Do you think the enemy might have had something to do with it? If so, do you believe it might have been a legal assignment from God? Why or why not? So Bethany and Uriah, Bethany's the one that had the child when she got pregnant by someone else. She was married to Uriah. Uriah was the one who later on faked his death to get the insurance money. So do I believe it might have been a legal assignment from God? I can't really say. I mean, their situation, he was on the road a lot. She got lonely. Not saying that it's right. So when she got lonely, she started seeing someone else. And that's kind of how that all started. I can't say if it was that the enemy had anything to do with it or not, or if it was an assignment from God. I just felt like it was life situations with them. Like, again, he was gone. She was lonely. she met someone else, she started having an affair, she ended up getting pregnant, which none of this is good, but things like this happen. And that is what happened with them. So I just believe that it was a little bit, it was just life. Life kind of took them in the wrong direction. And that's what I'll say about that. It was just life. I can't say if it was an assignment from God or if it was the enemy that was getting them off track. I believe that due to their circumstances, life took them in a wrong direction. Number 11, do you think Mother Duran had hid behind church and assignments from God as an excuse to prevent her from finding love and happiness within her own life? Why or why not? I do, because when Mother Duran went to visit her sister Bethany, she did meet someone within the church that I think would have been a great guy for her. But she was so focused on helping her sister and being the helper to everybody that she couldn't really open herself up for love. It does show her, trying to have a little bit of feelings for the guy that she met, but she was so focused on helping everybody else that she wasn't really focused on receiving love. She was so focused on giving love and not so much on receiving. And I think that with that, you need a middle ground. I think it's great to want to help people and be there for everybody else, but I also think that it's good for us to be able to receive the same love that we give. Um, so yeah, I think that she was so busy just helping that she didn't have a chance to receive love and happiness for her own life. And the final question, excuse me, number 12, it says, there is one more book to the New Day Diva series. Are you excited to read after a 4-book journey? The fifth and final installment, or do you feel the series could have ended with this book or any of the others? So I'm excited to read book 5. Actually, I am reading book 5 and I am enjoying it so far. And I feel like the book could have ended, on maybe 2 books, but it didn't. She stretched it out to 5, and that's okay as well. I've enjoyed the story. The storyline is good. I hope that I have encouraged you to want to get the book. Again, this one that I just reviewed is titled Trying to Stay Saved by Enjoy, but I recommend that you read all 5. I am on book 5 and I'm enjoying it. So it could have went either way. It could have been a 2-book series or it could have stretched out to the 5. Either way, it's a good read. So I encourage you to check out the New Day Diva series. And again, you can purchase them on Amazon. So we got through it. We got through it. So if you are new, welcome, welcome, welcome to Minutes of Inspiration with Calandra. I am Calandra. I am your host here. I come on every other Saturday and every other Wednesday to just bring you whatever the Lord puts in my spirit. On Wednesday is Worship Wednesday, so it's something that is prayer, Bible scripture, some type of lesson and teaching on Bible. And on Saturday, it is a lifestyle, a book series, whatever month we're in, something pertaining to that month. So yeah, those type of topics. So it's just a lifestyle episode on Saturday. You can follow me on Facebook at Minutes of Inspiration with Calandra or Sister You Are Loved. You can also follow my main page, which is Calandra Harlan. Instagram is Calandra_Monique. TikTok, it's Minutes of Inspiration with Calandra. And YouTube, Minutes of Inspiration with Calandra. I'm also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and that's also Minutes of Inspiration with Calandra. Again, you can purchase my book. It is Faith Walk to Healing. You can find this on Amazon. It's a devotional. It's a short read, but it's also very powerful and very scriptural based. It's also me giving you a little insight on my own personal life. So if you are interested, you can purchase Faith Walk to Healing on Amazon. Yes, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so you won't miss any of the lives that I may do. I am grateful to be here with the poetry. Hopefully some more poems will drop in my spirit and I can be able to bring you more poems. But thank you for listening in to the poem today. Again, comment below. Let me know what you thought of it. just chit chat with me in the comments. I love that. I do respond to every comment. So please reach out, chit chat with me. I am also a healing purpose coach. If you are interested in healing from low self esteem, insecurity, anything like that, and you're wanting to walk into the purpose that God has for you, click the link tree in my bio on any of the social media platforms that you follow me on, and click on appointee and schedule your session. So, yes, you can schedule a session, a one on one session with me if you need something like that. The prices are very affordable. The first one is a 10-minute discovery session just to see if we are a good match to work together. And then there is a 30-minute paid session and a 60-minute paid session. So reach out to me on the appointee and just click the link tree in my bio on anywhere that you follow me on, and you will be able to schedule that session. So thank you so much for tuning in to Minutes of Inspiration with Calandra. And as always, know that you are loved, you are valuable, and your life is worth living. God bless you.